How about we start another surf report? Big week, everybody. Guess what the new moon in Taurus is going to bring us? Not what we normally expect from a Taurian energy field, and it's going to be ruling this next lunar cycle, but a lot of power moves. Can't wait to show you. Got a lot of Uranus aspects, a lot of Plutonian energy, and that's how we get this I-Ching revolution. I mean, we've got, well, we'll talk all about it. There's several alignments that definitely support this revolution idea. I'm calling it power and transformation. There's a lot of power. There's a lot of transformation with Pluto. There's a lot of Aquarian connections with that Pluto influence. And then, of course, you've got a big, bold new moon. The new moon is conjunct Uranus, so a little more revolution in there. Dreambot is dead. I'm not sure what happened, but great. I'm going to spend a lot more time trying to figure that out. It looks like one or more of the websites went into subscriber mode, so the bot probably couldn't get in there. But at the same time, the bot itself isn't really counting the words properly. It's only giving me like 1 or 2 counts for typical words that have maybe like 200 counts. So it does appear to be something wrong with the actual bot, but plus the websites. High congruency score. Let's go ahead and get started. And a shout out to Adrenization. You have the best comment for the week, and says that I think we have been splitting. On my end, it feels like it. I think that matches after really going back to the law of one. They say it was estimating 2011. But at the same time, I also think in a different volume, they said something about taking like 300 years to complete this whole shift. We could be talking about 2 different things, but hopefully it won't be that long, right? Well, anyway, congratulations. You deserve to this week's award. And then for all of you, thank you. We just surpassed 3,000 subscribers, blew right by that. And that's a big milestone. I want to thank you guys for helping out and supporting the channel. It's because of you that we're growing. All right. We don't have a Dreambot to look at. I mean, it's just total trash. So we will go right into the astrology, and I want to give you some overviews like we normally do. We're in a Aries eclipse cycle, our first new moon post eclipse, and it's a Taurus new moon on May 7th. And yeah, it's this week, and it's at the end of our surf week, because our surf week is from May 2nd to May 8th. Should have said that earlier. That surf window, the surf window that we're talking about, is inside of the energy window of the 2024 gold rush. It's in Act 2. Called Act 2 is basically the gold rush on steroids. This is when Venus enters Taurus. That's already happened here as of this surf report, but we get a very fixed Earth backdrop. The gold rush energy gets even stronger at the new moon, which is going to be this week. And then we have most of May in this window. I encourage you to go back to that other video called the 2024 Gold Rush for more on that. Since we did give you an overview last time of May, but just a little bit of highlights here. We have the rushing bulls, part of the energy window. This is Jupiter and Uranus in a parallel and conjunction, and that's going to carry us all the way to June, and pretty much parallel basically intensifies this conjunction. So it's very intense. And inside these parallel parallel vertical lines, we have the new moon. But I want to highlight this. Sun conjunct Jupiter, because there's also going to be an intensified version of that. And that's going to be intensifying our gold rush. This is really another big force that does that, because Jupiter is so expansive and optimistic that hopefully that utopian thing that we're going to start this week carries through. So we got the gold rush, and then we start the cosmic cocktail party. They're really looking forward to that energy, and I'll keep saying that. All right. This looks like a confusing chart, so let me explain just a little bit. This blue line is Jupiter trine Pluto. We'll be talking about this. It's just getting started. 2 slow planets, so it takes a while. This energy is going to be valid until July 4th of all times. It is a revolution. It's expansion of revolution, expansion of transformation, and in a very easy energy flow between the two. And it's just getting started this week. That's why it's low on our energy profile. A little higher is the Uranus with the sun. And then as it goes up, we've got the new moon. New moon is on Tuesday, late Tuesday. So that's why it maxes out there. But then the other revolution transformation one that we're going to cover is the Mars sextile Pluto. We got the warrior and the rebel together, transforming just about everything. And that goes exact on Friday and then starts to trail off later. But all these are supportive of each other. They're all synergistic. And so you can imagine just adding all of them up, and basically what you get, because you have one high and then goes low, and one low, it goes high, it pretty much stays very high. If you add all these up, a fairly flat but very strong line here that is very strong. And the strength is revolution, power, transformation, all that kind of energy. All right, we'll start with our day one, just kind of give you an overview of these alignments, and then we'll go into detail. On Thursday, the 2nd of May, you've got a big stellium here, Jupiter, Uranus, Sun, Venus, all in Taurus. And so there's no surprise that we have a fixed Earth backdrop. And fixed Earth is Taurus. And so all that jives and makes sense. Sometimes you can have a stellium here in a certain zodiac sign and still not have maybe a different signature backdrop. Well, that's not happening. It is both stellium, very strong, all the planets there, plus confirmed by the fixed Earth backdrop. All right, from there, we look at conjunction of Uranus and Jupiter together. We've talked about that extensively, so I won't rehash that. But what's new is this Jupiter trine Pluto. It's just getting started. You can see that this is 8 degrees of orb, and this energy, Jupiter trine Pluto, will end somewhere around July 4th, if not on that day. And then it'll go exact around June 3rd. So halfway in between this. That makes sense. We're on the 2nd of May. So each month, it's like 2 months worth of energy. And it is, well, we'll talk about what it means here on the next day. But now we've also got all week this fiery Aries energy with Mars, North Node, Mercury, and Chiron. So passionately pursuing mental health into the future. There's a healing element. There's a lot of mental and the future, and they're all conjunct together. But we need to talk about Mars sextile Pluto. And we'll start there on the next day. That's a nice segue. But all those energies that I talked about are synergistic with power, revolution, transformation. Starting with Mars sextile Pluto, the overarching archetype here that emerges is the Aries Aquarian warrior of the transformation. The picture looks kind of like this. If you want to imagine something, this is the figure who embodies the fearless initiative of Aries and the revolutionary vision of Aquarius in the battle for personal and collective transformation. This is a warrior who fights not for conquest or domination, but for the evolution of consciousness, for the liberation of the human potential from the shackles of oppression. This energy is the metaphor of the one who charges forth into the front lines of change, leading the way through example and inspiration. So with this sextile between Mars and Pluto, this is at 4:05 a.m. Central Daylight Time on May 3rd. It is exact at this moment in time, so at its climax. Possible feelings or outcomes that you might notice: increased courage and initiative to tackle personal and collective challenges, opportunities to pioneer new paths of empowerment or liberation, the resistance to just giving up and needing to keep powering through, potential to inspire and catalyze revolutionary change in general. In this week-long archetype, we are all freedom fighters in the struggle for individual and universal awakening. And by embracing this bold, pioneering approach to growth and change, we can each play our part in the co-creating a world where every being is free to pursue their highest potential. And that energy will be strong all week, but tailoring off towards the end, that we talked about earlier. Now let's cover this slow planet one that's just emerging, which is Jupiter trine Pluto, goes exact on June 3rd. That'll be the climax of this energy. But the energy itself is more of a utopia, grounded vision. It's a visionary, the practical utopian who works hard to anchor progressive visions in the tangible realities of everyday life. This is the change agent who understands that heaven on earth is not just a lofty concept, but a hands-on construction project. With the expansive faith of Jupiter and the transformative power of Pluto, the practical utopian gets to work building the better world, brick by brick, one stone at a time, one community at a time. The other archetype that emerges from this cosmic configuration is the Titans of Transformation. It's a league of grounded visionaries. That becomes from the Pluto in Aquarius. The enlightened entrepreneurs. It's the Jupiter and the practical utopians who harness the power of material reality to manifest profound, sustainable change for the betterment of all. Possible feelings or possible outcomes: profound systemic change that promotes collective well-being, opportunities for visionary leadership, or manifestation of tangible long-term abundance and prosperity. That is a direct match to our gold rush energy window. So this will be a key part of that, although it wasn't emphasized. Then we hit Sunday, the 5th of May, and we've got Cinco de Mayo. Now, there's a lot of, obviously this is not the astrology here, but what we're going to look at is whether or not Cinco de Mayo is going to be all that festive from an astrological standpoint. And my opinion is it can be. We have the moon in Aries. That's a high potential energy, emotionally on fire, looking into the future, passionate. Then we've got Venus is home in Taurus. We've got the backdrop of fixed Earth. We got the stellium, lots of Taurus energy. So that brings on the five senses and the want to feel and experience. So all that together looks favorable, except we have the waning crescent moon. And in Aries, here's the contradiction. In Aries, the emotion, or the emotions and the moon in a waning crescent sort of feels contradictive, because Aries is bold and motivating, but the last phase of the moon is about quieting down, introspection, rejuvenation, relaxation. Is it relaxing going to a party like this? Well, I want to propose that it's not right or wrong to go to a party at this time. It is more about how you go about doing this. Can you be in a yin state? Can you rejuvenate and get and gain energy at a party like this? I propose that you can, but you have to be very mindful. For example, this person here really into the drinking part of it, getting high, getting drunk, really partying hard is not very yin. You're not gaining energy. You're going to be wasting a bunch of energy, dancing hard and serving a lot of stuff. That's all very yang. But the opposite of that can be very appropriate. When I've noticed being around big crowds, if you do this right, so what I'm calling right is in a yin state, in a social environment, is really taking it all in, not just metaphorically, like breathing in this energy, if you will, and soaking up just the energy of the togetherness, energy of the group itself. There is a separate energy. For some reason, the bigger the group, for example, being in a really cool concert in Kansas City, and I remember all the lights that go up and just the togetherness, or a big football game, and there's just this different energy that you don't get by staying alone and watching the TV and seeing the group. It's like being a part of it. You can capture the energy of that moment, but you have to stay relaxed. Your mind has to be relaxed. It's best to be in the present moment, both mentally, physically. Physically in the moment is experiencing everything through your five senses in a very Taurian way, and being relaxed, physically relaxed. All right. And that way you can be into this Cinco de Mayo. You don't have to, but you can be in that Cinco de Mayo and also be in alignment with the stars. Monday the 6th, just a more waning crescent as we get ready for the new moon in Taurus. And there it is. There's so much about this new moon. And this is the big surprise, as we get all of the stellium is technically conjunct with the new moon. So you get all of these Taurus planets, but most especially you get Uranus, because Uranus is only 4.5 degrees away, whereas Jupiter and Venus are a little bit further. But basically we get the focus is on the revolution of Uranus, and we get the Taurian Tesla of transformation. Just as Nikola Tesla harnessed the invisible forces of electricity to revolutionize the physical landscape of the modern world, this Taurian new moon will involve subtle currents of embodied existence to engineer profound shifts in the very infrastructure of reality. And why? Because of that Uranus and Jupiter, because both of those are conjunct as well. It's the runaway bulls. It's the gold rush again. But Uranus represents electricity, change, insight, and that is inseparable from this new moon. So you get the earthiness of a craftsman, the Taurus, and the brilliance and mad scientist of the Uranus aspect. And so it transmutes familiar elements of the sensory world into radically new and expansive configurations. Lots of big words. Beware of the pitfalls of this energy. It could be destabilizing or disorienting shifts in the material plane, the sensory overload or physical burnout from intense stimulation, or a potential for alienation or rejection due to such unconventional approaches. And because we're in a new moon, we're in a new cycle, and therefore we need to make sure we make our Taurus goals. Taurus new moon goals for the next 30 days or 29 days until the next new moon So things like financial stability, maybe doing a budget would be good, very Taurus. List and prioritize, revisit your values could be a great option because value and worth is part of Taurus, personal value is part of that. Or you can get into the earth aspect, reconnect with nature, get your hands into the gardening, the composting, the earthing. And guess what? If we include Uranus there with this hands-on gardening, why not include electro gardening? Have you guys heard about that? You place copper in there and the inclusion of coils and basically taking the energy that is from the environment, and the plants get the benefit of that. Seeds and the plants grow better, apparently, when you have those devices in there. So I think that would be great. You're not adding any battery or anything to it. It's just the environment. It's collecting energy from the environment and putting it into the soil. Apparently helps the plants grow. I think that would be a very appropriate activity with new moon conjunct Uranus. Patience and perseverance, any blocks that you've had in the past, let's farm them out and power through them. This is the greatest energy to do it with. And then any mindfulness and sensory experiences would be good. All right, so this is Wednesday the 8th. Just kind of a recap. The Mars sextile Pluto is still a thing, but it's waning off. It's still appropriate to talk about. We have Jupiter trine Pluto overall, very early in infancy stage of this energy, but it's a thing, and it's only going to get stronger until June 4th or June 3rd, somewhere around there, for a whole month. The utopian energy there, the utopian, and part of that utopia is going to have to change. The status quo will change, will break, and will morph into a new vision. And I'll be optimistic because it's Jupiter. So look at all the bottom line is this week, look at all the influences of revolution and transformation. You've got a new moon conjunct Uranus. You've got Uranus and Jupiter in Taurus. You've got Pluto that has at least 3 aspects. The sextile to Mars, the trine over to Jupiter, and early on it had a square over to Venus we didn't talk about, but transformation is included in the relationships and finance realms. So that's all we have for the tropical astrology, and it's all a match to the I-Ching because now it's not just revolution. I should have stated that earlier. We have line 6. So when we have line 6 in the revolution, it says a major objective is being reached. Only the fine-tuning remains. Although you may see limitations in the changing situation, do not depress yourself in striving for perfection. So basically, when the 6th top line is changing, it suggests the revolution or radical change is successful and now must be properly managed or brought into control. And where have we heard that before? And basically, it's saying it's already done. You just don't see it yet. Have you heard that before? Doesn't that sound familiar? A time of necessary upheaval and sweeping reform, a complete metamorphosis occurring after a long gestation period. Yeah, you don't say. The emergence of a new life or new order arising chaotically. All right, so that's a lot, I know. Let's summarize our influence. And you get this big bowl that's just pounding through anything in its way. That's the energy. The energy of this CIRF week is very unusual and could be historic. And that's even if we don't actually see anything manifesting in our physical eyes in the outside world. Underneath, the energy is electric, revolutionary, transformational, and is all synergistic with each other. Stronger than ever urges are felt towards a utopia manifest. overthrowing the status quo, the freeing of the collective from our old rulers. The energy this week resounds strongly not for only the Taurus new moon cycle, but all the way to July 4th to complete the Jupiter trine Pluto conjunction. So it's not just this week. This week is probably the climax of it, and then you start seeing this sort of rolling out, and eventually you see it manifested. All right. Oh, shoot. Did I not? Let me do that one more time so you can see the whole thing. Doop, 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 doop. There. Probably didn't see the bowl, did you? All right. Let's go back. All right. And we need to go back to the solution. Here it is. Put the change line in. You get hexagram 13, fellowship. Forming close. So these are the activities we need to consider: forming close bonds, joining forces, finding a common ground, networking, and team building. All right, so keep that in mind. And then we put our conversion chart in. The new moon is in hexagram 2. That's the yin of the rave, and we get Aries. And here's the rave. It's receptive. The receptive is the primal base through which any response is determined, the root of action. It's line 6. This is the new moon's happening in line 6 fixation. Higher knowing that is extremely narrow in its receptivity, or the higher self absorbed with the mundane and the need for security. So you can see where we're headed. It's going to be funneled into something. Your awareness will be funneled into something, and I would like you to make that a conscious choice. And we'll speak to that when we go to our solution slide. And here it is. This week's triangulation is best utilized sequentially, in my opinion. We're not triangulating, we're doing one step at a time. So the first step is right here with the new moon. Identify your new moon goals. Which one of them should be about values? This will become your starting point for the second step. And that's over here in the upper right. Fixation on higher knowing, or be trapped into the mundane. So if you're doing this consciously, like looking through the keyhole, which is representative of your highest value, and you only let your mind focus on that value. All right. And according to the rave, when you do that, it will instruct you all week in higher knowing. So I included a little statement here on divergent thinking, and what you want to do in this mindset is a very creative process, but you're releasing the expectation of getting answers, of getting your problem solved, and you're trusting that it will eventually come. So all you do is pay attention, like this keyhole. You're looking through to the light, or to the other side of this is your value. So you're not looking at anything else. You're fixated on whatever value you determine in step 1. And then through that, you just keep thinking about it openly, curiously, relaxed state, and you will get insights about what to do. That will be the third step. Join the forces of people. I skipped there's another step here before it, and that is join forces. That's according to the I-Ching. Join the forces of people exuding the same value as yours. Then take the best of Sidereal Aries and passionately, ardently, and boldly defend your value, especially if it's under threat. Continue to fixate on your value because it continues to provide new insights of higher knowing. So basically, you keep redoing this. If you want to stay on that same value from the new moon step, then just go back to your keyhole, mental keyhole, and only see the value that you've determined. and then join forces with other people and then defend it. Welcome to your personal revolution. That's how you do it. All right. I have talked a lot. It's right at about 30 minutes. My goal is to keep these at about 30 minutes. I am considering doing some other types of videos, but we'll keep doing these CIRF reports because it appears to be helpful, not just for me, but for you as well. And I thank you all for being here. And I hope you have a very blessed week. And I'll see you next week. Take care.